was on a reality show with my A-list brother, and the director told us to name one thing we'd done that no one else in the group had. When it was my turn, I smiled sweetly and said, "I've made my brother cry by punching him." The live chat exploded. Lmao. The tabloids call him a violent monster. You mean the kind that gets beaten to tears by his little sister? Isn't he famous for having the worst temper in the industry? But then he saw one comment scroll by, "His sister is so cute. I want to take her home." That's when my brother finally lost it. "Back off," he snarled at the screen. "Don't you people have your own sisters?" I was home for the summer, sprawled on our living room couch, half watching TV while scrolling through my phone. On screen, my brother's concert was being broadcast live from a sold-out stadium. The music was electric, a pulsing beat that vibrated through the floor. He moved with slick, practiced ease, hitting every mark with predatory grace. Below him, a sea of fans screamed his name. "Leo, I love you. Oh my god, he's unreal. Leo Roth, the king." The music crashed to a halt, and the camera zoomed in for a tight close-up on the massive screen. Leo Roth, my brother, wore an expression of sublime, untouchable arrogance, the impeccable rock god persona he'd perfected. Cool, detached, a king surveying his domain. The next second, the real Leo pushed open the living room door. He stood there looking at me with the pleading eyes of a kicked puppy, dressed in a fluffy, bright pink Peppa Pig onesie. "Maya, please," he whined. "Just come with me. It's only for 3 days." "No," I said, not looking up from my phone. Every other guest has their sister with them. Even my nemesis, Asher Kane, dug up some long-lost cousin to bring along. He'd been begging me for days to join him on this reality show. "Absolutely not," I said firmly. "It's not that I'm heartless, it's that I've seen the headlines." Trending number 1, Leo Roth anger issues. Trending number 2, Leo Roth threatens paparazzi. Trending number 3, Leo Roth, new, single, slaps. 2 out of 3 were PR nightmares. I had no desire to get caught in the crossfire of his public persona. Instead of a windfall of fame by association, I'd just get a storm of drama dumped on my head. Seeing that his puppy dog act wasn't working, my brother played his trump card. "If you come, I'll give you 3 pieces of fresh Hollywood gossip. 100% verified." My head snapped up. "Gossip, the good kind?" "Deal," I said immediately. To hesitate even for a second would have been disrespectful to the sacred art of sibling bribery. Sibling Rivalry was a reality show filmed at a rustic luxury farmhouse, with every moment of the 3-day shoot live-streamed to boost engagement. A live comment feed scrolled constantly across the screen. The moment my brother and I stepped out of the black SUV, the feed blew up. "Leo is my husband. Leo's here. Ah. Music Maven 22, he's hot, but the permanent scowl is a turnoff. I heard he's got a temper. Roth Army forever, that's just a rumor Asher Kane's fans started. Get a life. Is that his sister? She's so adorable." I saw that one pair of siblings had already arrived and were sitting on a plush sofa in the waiting area. When I recognized the guy's face, my smile twitched. "Of course. You've got to be kidding me. Caleb Hayes, my childhood friend. Nicknamed the Crown Prince of the Hamptons, he'd stumbled into acting to kill time before taking over his father's empire. He'd since become famous for playing handsome, charismatic jerks in a few hit streaming shows, a role that required very little acting. His eyes lit up when he saw me. "Maya." He strode over, his hand instinctively rising to ruffle my hair like he used to when we were kids. The comment feed immediately went into detective mode. "Gossip Girl Xoxo, Caleb Hayes knows Leo Roth's sister? Nightlife, isn't he East Coast royalty? Total player. They probably met at some club. She looks so innocent, but I guess she's a party girl." I had no intention of getting tangled in manufactured drama. Before the cameras were even properly rolling, I took a quick step back, putting clear distance between us. Caleb noticed my deliberate retreat and let his hand fall, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. He coolly slid back onto the sofa, pretending he hadn't just been subtly rejected. The girl beside him offered a warm smile. "Hi. You must be Maya. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Chloe, Caleb's cousin." Wow. The little kid who used to follow Caleb around with a perpetually runny nose had grown up into a legitimately beautiful young woman. She greeted me warmly but gave my brother a decidedly frosty look. Leo leaned over and whispered, "Does she have a problem with me? What did I ever do to her?" "You seriously don't remember?" I said. "You grilled the 2 pet chicks she was raising in her backyard when you were 12. Comprehension dawned on his face. He rubbed his nose, managing a sheepish, awkward laugh. Before we could sit down, another SUV pulled up. A man and a woman stepped out, scanning the area. The guy in the crisp white blazer was Asher Kane, a rising pop star and Leo's designated industry rival. He built his entire career on being a budget version of my brother. The woman with him was Serafina Bell, a new actress whose entire brand was built around being a sweet, sophisticated heiress. Her fans called her the Princess of Bel Air. She was dressed in a pale pink silk cheongsam-style dress, her heels adorned with delicate pearls. She looked like a fragile, perfect little flower. Serafina's here. The princess has arrived. Princess Protection Squad, the princess has arrived. Asher is king. Asher looks amazing. He could totally pass for a younger Leo Roth. Leo Van 1, don't even compare that clone to the original. Asher Stan, says the Leo fan. Like idol, like fan, both toxic. Wait, am I crazy, or does Serafina look kinda plain next to Maya? Are you blind? Serafina is a goddess and you're trash. Serafina definitely saw that last comment comparing us. A shadow of hostility flickered in her eyes as she looked at me. Asher Kane approached my brother with a cloying, deferential smile, extending his hand. Leo, it's been a while. Great to be working with you. Before Leo could even react, the comments were already crucifying him. The truth, see? Asher is so polite. Rumor mill, the rumors must be true. Leo Roth is an arrogant jerk who thinks he's above everyone. Justice for Asher, look at our poor Asher. He looks so scared. Leo must have bullied him before. I saw a flash of triumph in Asher's eyes. Oh, so that's the game we're playing? I stepped in front of my brother. Moving close to Asher, I pitched my voice to a soft, innocent whisper. Hey, can I ask you something? How do you get the bridge of your nose to catch the light like that? Asher instinctively clapped a hand over his nose, his face flooding with panic. What? What are you talking about? Leo had told me all about it. To become the next Leo Roth, Asher had spent a small fortune on plastic surgery to mimic my brother's features. Asher shot me a furious glare before storming off to the sofa. Serafina, meanwhile, ignored us completely and made a point of sitting right next to Caleb, acting as if they were old friends. The comments immediately ran with the narrative she was pushing. Celeb couples, the Princess of Bel Air and the Prince of the Hamptons. They look so good together. User 987, that random girl who just showed up isn't even in the same league. Exactly. Serafina is actual old money. They move in different circles. She started fussing with a teacup, making little clinking noises, clearly trying to get Caleb's attention. It was a wasted effort. Caleb picked up a magazine and became utterly engrossed in it. Thwarted, Serafina turned her attention to Chloe, but just as she was about to speak, Chloe hopped up, ran over to me, and grabbed my hand, pulling me down to sit beside her. My brother followed, taking the last empty spot. Maya, I heard you just got back from studying abroad. Was it amazing? Chloe began, her words tumbling out in a rush. I've been thinking about applying to Parsons. Could you tell me about it? Oh, and can I please come hang out after the show? Chloe was a whirlwind of excited energy, and I found myself smiling as I answered her questions. Across from us, Serafina sat awkwardly, her polite smile plastered on, the odd one out. Watcher 123, wait, are Serafina and the Hayes cousins not actually friends? Cringe. She's supposed to be this big socialite, but she looks totally out of her depth. Girl power, Chloe and Maya seem so genuine together. So cute. Two adorable girls. My screen has been blessed. Serafina watched the comments, her lips pressed into a thin line. Her gaze, filled with resentment, landed on my neck. Oh, she exclaimed, her voice suddenly loud and performative. You have that necklace too. Her outburst drew the director's attention, and a camera zoomed in on the delicate chain around my neck. She stepped closer, peering at it with fake curiosity. That's a Dubois, isn't it? From her limited collection? There are only 5 in the entire world. I can't believe you have one too. But yours looks a little different from mine. She let the accusation hang in the air. Then, as if realizing her mistake, she covered her mouth with her hand. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to imply it's fake or anything. It's just, Madame Dubois is a designer I deeply admire, so I get a little carried away. Please forgive me. The comment section immediately turned on me. Lol. Someone wore a knockoff to a live stream show. That's embarrassing. Our princess is so classy, not like some people. Teen Asher, her brother's a bully, and she wears fake jewelry. What a lovely family. A fake? I blinked, genuinely confused. The production team, clearly smelling blood in the water, did nothing, waiting for me to apologize and create a dramatic scene. Instead, I calmly pulled out my phone, opened my messaging app, and tapped on a pinned contact. I sent a quick message. 5 minutes later, a new post appeared on Madame Dubois' official verified Instagram account, written in perfect English. A joy to see my brilliant student, Maya Roth, wearing the piece I gifted her, a symbol of our shared passion for design. The internet exploded. Hashtag Maya Roth Dubois student, hashtag Maya Roth Parsons, hashtag sibling, rivalry, style. Serafina's face went from flushed red to sickly pale. I casually closed the app, but not before noticing another trending topic just below the ones about me. Hashtag Serafina, Belle, Mansion. Was this girl really buying her own trending topics? Curious, I clicked on it. The post featured a picture of Serafina in a ballet tutu, striking a contrived pose in a large, opulent living room. But it wasn't her that caught my eye. The sofa, the coffee table, and on the wall behind her, a framed childish doodle of a My Little Pony. My heart skipped a beat. What the hell? That was our empty villa in Malibu. For a second I thought I was seeing things. Then the little pony's blue tail and the crooked yellow star beside it knocked the breath out of me. I'd drawn that when I was 5, furious that Leo had gotten a limited edition toy and I hadn't. Mom framed the tantrum art and hung it in the Malibu place because she said a child's first honest drawing deserved an expensive wall. No one but family ever laughed at that story. Serafina's caption under the photo read, "Home is where the heart settles." A pink heart. A swan emoji. Home? To who? Leo felt me go still. What? I showed him my phone. His face hardened like someone had slammed a door inside it. She's in our house, I whispered. Then she's trespassing, he said, just as the segment producer, brisk bun, clipboard, headset, summoned us with jazz hands urgency toward the main living room. Save it for the camera, she chirped. We're doing the family recipe challenge first, it'll be adorable. The farmhouse was a designer's fever dream, exposed beams, a 12-foot harvest table, bowls of lemons that had never been picked by human hands. Each sibling pair had a station. Leo and I got a butcher block island with a pot that could bathe a baby. I wasn't sure what family recipe they expected from us. Our childhood kitchen had produced takeout containers and contract disputes. Grilled cheese, I told Leo. You can't mess up grilled cheese. Watch me, he muttered, then caught himself and gave the camera a smile he used for endorsement deals. I mean, absolutely. On cue, the chat began to tumble. Make Leo chop onions. I want Tears grilled cheese? The Roths are so normal? Asher and the princess are making risotto, of course they are. To our left, Asher was measuring arboreal rice with the gravity of a christening. Serafina stood like a porcelain figurine, stirring a pot with delicate disdain and never letting a single hair move. She flicked one glance at me, cool, assessing, a scalpel sliding across my name, then pretended I didn't exist. Chloe had rolled up her sleeves at Caleb's station, bossing him around with sisterly ruthlessness that made me like her even more. If you burn the butter, you're sleeping outside, she told him. Caleb's mouth tilted into that crooked grin I used to think was the sun. He glanced up and caught me watching. My stomach did something unhelpful. Okay, the director trilled. Actionable story time, people. We need vulnerability. Talk about your bond. Our bond. I passed Leo the butter and he missed it by an inch, too busy smirking at the camera. The butter slid, bounced, and landed directly into the flame. For one theatrical second the pan hissed and flared. The room gasped. Leo yanked the pan back without swearing, which for him was character development. I killed the flame. He looked at me. I looked at him. We burst out laughing. The feet sparkled. They're actually cute. Maybe he's not a monster after all. Siblings who almost set the set on fire together stay together. Asher muttered something to a PA. The PA whispered to a camera operator. The camera swung to catch us, then, suddenly, cut back to Asher, who lifted his spoon like a chalice. When I was 12, he said in a trembling voice, my sister was sick, and I learned to cook for her. Food is love. The director made an approving noise. Serafina dabbed her eye with a linen napkin. The chat cooed. I could feel the machinery grinding, sainthood assembled out of lighting cues and an origin story rehearsed in the car. Leo leaned toward me, very softly, gossip one? You promised 3, I said. He cracked a knuckle. Fine. 1, Asher's nose wasn't the only thing. He had his jaw shaved last year in Seoul and pretended it was weight loss. 2, the Clean Living brand? He carries a flask. Peach schnapps. Peach? I recoiled. That's the worst crime so far. Leon's grin flashed and was gone. 3. Later. He flipped the grilled cheese with a flourish that sent a spray of crumbs onto the lens. I pressed my phone against the island, the Malibu photo still open, a seed of fury beginning to sprout leaves. When the tasting ended, we didn't win, but we also didn't poison the crew. The director waved us toward a set of French doors that opened to a low terrace. Golden hour had been booked in advance. A pair of Adirondack chairs waited for heart-to-heart time. The comment feed bled along the bottom of the monitor like a patient vital. Maya, ask him about the punch story. No, ask about girlfriends, tell us the gossip. Let them have their sibling moment, the director warned the other pairs, but Asher drifted closer anyway, orbiting attention like a mosquito. Serafina followed with a glass of sparkling water that somehow never diminished. Leo slouched in his chair and stared at the horizon like he already regretted every life choice. Okay, he sighed to the camera. One time Maya made me cry by punching me. The feed shrieked. Details, details, details. She was 6, he continued. I'd stolen her birthday crown and told her she wasn't special. She got on the coffee table in her tutu, jumped, and clocked me in the nose. I bled. She cried more than I did. I cried because you cried, I said. You cried because you thought Mom was going to put you in prison, he said. For attempted regicide. The chat made 12,000 crown emojis. For a minute the world felt simple. Then a notification paraded across my phone, another post under hashtag Serafina Bell Mansion. New angle. The ballet tutu. The My Little Pony. A comment under it, my cousin cleaned a place like this in Point Doom. The owner's never there. My thumb moved before my brain did. I texted our Malibu property manager, Nora, a woman who could conjure plumbers like rabbits from hats. Have you been at the house this week? Anyone in there? Her dots danced, then appeared, not me. Alarm company pinged 2 disarm/rearms yesterday. Thought you were in town. I swallowed. Another line, do you want me to pull the camera footage? Yes. The next segment was a game. Blindfolds. Guess the texture. There was a lot of squealing. The director had clearly decided the nation needed to see celebrities touch bowls of peeled grapes and pretend they were eyeballs. Between the laughs I felt my phone buzz again. A link. I opened it beneath the island so the camera wouldn't catch. 2 thumbnails. I tapped the first. Our foyer came into view, white stone, the wildflower arrangement in a clay jug I'd picked out on a mannequin 3 summers ago, and then the front door opened. 2 people entered, faces tipped down. Masked baseball caps, a stylist's rolling rack, a line of garment bags. The woman took off her mask. Serafina. She glanced up at the camera in the ceiling and then smiled. The second clip showed her twirling in the living room. A man stepped into frame to adjust a light, Asher. He held up his phone, angled it. Serafina lifted her chin like a swan offered a lake. I didn't realize I was standing until the director hissed, "Where is she going?" A camera yanked to follow. I headed for the terrace, the nearest patch of air. Maya? Leo was behind me in 3 strides. What? I need your phone, I said. With your blue check and however many millions of people worship the ground under your combat boots. His eyes flicked to my screen. He watched the clip with a stillness I recognized from the few times I'd seen him actually angry, not the performative kind, the kind that stripped language to an animal. No, he said softly. We're going to do this smart. We're on a live stream. Exactly. He moved. Within 60 seconds we were back at the harvest table, the entire cast trotting after us like curious sheep. The director's voice in the ceiling took on the brittle cheer of a teacher whose class has smelled blood. What's up, Team Roth? Quick question for my friend across the way, Leo said, and his smile was all teeth. Serafina, is home Malibu this week, or Bel Air? 1,000 comments hiccuped at once. Where is this going? Drama time, don't you dare bully our princess. Serafina gave a small laugh. I have several homes. She tilted her head. Do you not? Must be nice, Leo said mildly. Funny thing, though. I recognize the art on your wall. My wall. Asher's hand tightened around his water glass. The director, to her credit, smelled a rating spike and swung a boom to catch every intake of breath. Let's not, she began. Roll the tape, I said. Leo lifted his phone so the Steadicam could frame the screen. Nora's footage played. Serafina's smile at our foyer camera bloomed like a bruise. The chat combusted. Oh, not the security cam she broke in? Wait, is that Asher? Asher's glass clinked back to the table. We had permission. From who? I asked. Our realtor, Serafina said, seamless as silk. The owner agreed to a location scout in exchange for credit. I'm the owner, Leo said. Funny, I don't remember that call. Then your team, Asher started. Our team includes an alarm company, I said. They disagreed. For a heartbeat, everything held its breath. The director hovered between intervention and worship. The chat split into factions and threw furniture across the line. You can't just accuse people, this is so humiliating. Why are they doing this? Liv, if she trespassed, that's a crime. Asher looks like he wants to evaporate, protect the princess. Serafina's gaze found me, cool and bright. I'm sure this is a misunderstanding, she said gently, the way one talks to a puppy that has decided its tail is the enemy. We can call the realtor now. We can, I said, or we can call the sheriff. But I'd hate to waste county resources on a branding exercise. Asher's jaw flexed. He darted a look at the closest camera, calculating angles, exits, redemption arcs. Then he stood, palms out. We're not here to fight, he said, voice pitched to concerned brother. The audience doesn't want ugly. They want joy. The chat split again, joy versus justice. The director saw the cliff and decided to drive faster. Let's take a 5-minute reset, she chimed. Hydrate. Touch up. We'll pick up with the hair-eyed date cards in a sec. We drifted apart in orbiting knots. Chloe beelined for me and gripped my arm. Are you okay? I'm fine, I said, and realized I meant it. The shaking inside me had condensed into something sharp and cold and simple. I'd spent most of my life letting PR shape reality and then apologizing to it. Maybe that was over. Caleb materialized on my other side as if conjured. You sure? I don't need a bodyguard, I said, more tartly than intended. He took it. Have one anyway, he said. On loan. Leo peeled off to let the producer read him a list of words he was not supposed to say on a family platform. Asher and Serafina vanished toward hair and makeup, trailed by a manager whose expression said he was mentally updating crisis contacts. I slipped outside with my phone and dialed Nora. You want me to file a report? She asked after I'd thanked her for saving my sanity. Or we can send a bill. Location fees are fun. Send the bill, I said. And CC their management. Big numbers. Make sure the pony gets a line item. Nora laughed. Done. By the time the hair-eyed segment started, the part with plaid blankets and unions of hay and unavailable chairs, the air had settled into something like the idea of calm. We were supposed to draw a day card at random and take a partner on a wagon around the property to answer cute questions about childhood. I pulled a card and coughed. Read your partner's last 3 texts aloud. I showed the camera. The chat howled. Leo whistled in sympathy. Pick the princess, someone on crew murmured wickedly behind a hand. The cards weren't actually random, nothing on this show was, but I had the distinct feeling a goblin in production had shuffled this one destiny point toward me. I'll go with Chloe, I said before anyone could redirect me. The director blinked. Then she smiled. Perfect, she said with the kind of game show brightness you use when someone opens door C, the one with the goat, and you decide the goat is a car now. Chloe and I climbed onto the hay wagon. The sun slipped toward the trees, moths chose careers in lighting. The driver clucked and the wheels groaned forward. Behind us another wagon creaked with Leo and, because fate requires seasoning, Asher. Serafina had secured herself a solo confessional by simply walking toward the orchard and being followed. Okay, I said, last 3 texts? Chloe blushed to her bangs. What if they're boring? Then you're an example to us all. She swallowed. 1, she read, to my mom, you were right, the green dress was better. 2, to my boss, I can come in Sunday if you need me. 3. To Caleb, please don't be mean to Maya when you see her. I stared. She yelped. I didn't mean that. He thinks he's being funny. Sometimes he is, I said. Sometimes he's a hurricane in a linen shirt. Are you too? She flapped her hands vaguely. We grew up, I said. Not together. She nodded like that answer lived in a box she recognized. Your turn. I read mine without ceremony. 1, to my professor, thank you for the recommendation letter. 2, to my brother, if you were the onesie on camera I will change my last name. 3, to a property manager named Nora, send the bill. Chloe choked a laugh. Iconic, she said with awe. You have main character energy. God, I hope not, I said before I could stop myself. It gets people hurt. Only if the writing is bad, she said, then seemed to realize she'd said something too wise and hid behind her hands. We rumbled past the orchard where a camera was catching Serafina at a perfect flare of light. She tilted her face, receiving worship. I value privacy, she was telling the lens. I think we live in a culture that confuses access with intimacy. The wagon passed. She didn't look at me. When we climbed down, the director vibrated over with a finger to her earpiece in excitement that smelled like money. New idea. She sang. Family game night. Truth or consequence, but we'll call it truth or dare for the old millennials who've had wine. We were shepherded into the living room and arranged on sofas like a beautiful chess problem. The comment feed danced, kissing dares, expose your secrets, tell us your crush. A bowl of cards appeared. The first few rounds were goofy. Leo had to sing the first line of his nemesis's hit, he did it perfectly and then said he was allergic to mediocrity. Asher had to call his mother and tell her he loved her, she cried on speaker. It was either moving or a masterclass in weaponized fragility. Then I drew a card that said, share a truth about another player you've never said out loud. I looked at the circle. The room hummed. Somewhere a producer raised their hands to heaven. I have two, I said. One nice. One not. The director inhaled. We love duality, she said. The nice one is for Chloe, I said. When we were 12, you gave me your last strawberry candy in the theater after I spilled my soda and cried. You told me you liked me better than your cousin because I didn't think money was a personality. I've never forgotten. Chloe's eyes filled. Caleb's head snapped toward her. You never told me you hated me more than sugar, he said, mock-wounded. You were insufferable, she said sweetly. You wore indoor sunglasses to my middle school musical. The room laughed. The feed sent strawberries. And the not nice one? The director prodded, greedy and soft. I breathed in. Asher, I said, and watched the word land. You had surgery. That isn't a crime. But what is a crime is hiring a security company to get you into homes that don't belong to you because you want the light in their living rooms. Silence pressed the air flat. Asher's smile didn't move, but something under it broke like a pencil. That's a very serious accusation. I have footage in a bill, I said. Serafina's hand drifted to her throat, where diamonds lay like obedient frost. She hadn't been addressed and yet the blow found her. She turned her face to the off-camera confessional cam, the hungry square of attention all performers sense like heat. Sometimes, she said, voice a breath, girls eat girls. There it was, the line she would test market on us, and then release as a short with music she didn't have the license to use. I opened my mouth to answer, but then Leo did something no one expected. He stood up. I am, he announced solemnly, going to tell a story that makes me look bad. The room blinked. The feed went quiet the way a room does when a child drops a glass. When I was 20, he said, I broke a photographer's camera. People still bring that up. They should. It was stupid. I paid for the camera and I apologized, privately, because I was more interested in saving my face than admitting I was wrong. But the reason I threw the fit was because my sister had just landed and the guy shoved a flash in her face and she yelped. I saw red. None of that makes it okay. The point is that I have a temper. Therapy works. You should try it. Not you, he added to the camera kindly, unless you're the kind of person who thinks all criticism is abuse, in which case definitely you. The chat fell in love with him, because confession beats allegation 9 times out of 10. The director actually clapped like a seal who'd learned to say mama. I exhaled a breath I hadn't known I was holding. Asher's manager materialized at his shoulder to whisper. Asher nodded, face composed again. I won't litigate this in a parlor game, he said smoothly. But I will say we had permission from a third party. If there's a misunderstanding, I'll address it. Address this too, Leo said casually, as if remembering a grocery item. Stop sending flowers to my stylist with notes that say when you get tired of grunge, call me. She's married. To a bodybuilder. Who deadlifts more than your self-esteem? Even the camera operators laughed. The manager swore under his breath. Serafina's smile calcified. All right. The director sang, briskly deciding we had taken that as far as they could indemnify. Final bit of the night, Campfire confessions. We're going for cousin bonding, summer camp nostalgia, and a starfield you can only get when you call in a favor at the Meteorological Bureau. Outside, a fire pit waited in a crushed gravel circle. Mason jars with fake candles made the path glow as if we were walking into a memory with a sponsorship deal. We settled on logs with blankets across our laps. Someone handed me a paper cup of cider so sweet it could dissolve grief. Each of you, the director said, say one thing you would have told your younger self. The silence that followed wasn't performative. It was the kind that happens when a room remembers we're animals around a flame. Chloe went first, voice steady. You're allowed to want what you want even when no one understands it. Caleb's turn. He stared into the fire as if it were an opponent. You don't have to perform to be loved, he said. And if you don't know who you are without the performance, go find out before you bring anyone with you. The chat softened. Little hearts drifted like ash. Asher said, the internet isn't a mother, which was not nothing. Serafina said, be gentler, which sounded pretty but didn't land for me anywhere below the skin. Leo nudged me. You? I looked at the flames, then over them at him. At the boy who taught me to ride a bike by running behind me and yelling don't look back while I looked back every second to check he was there. At the man who had burned himself down for other people's applause and was trying, visibly, to regrow skin. I'd tell her that silence is a costume, I said. Taking it off feels like streaking at first. Then like swimming. The chat quieted. Somewhere in the maple trees a bird insisted the night wasn't for sleeping. We watched sparks climb the dark. Much later, when the crew had put away the boom mics and the camp chairs, when the makeup artists had stopped pretending we were their cousins, when the production assistants had finally released their hips from clipboards, I found Caleb alone on the back steps. He had a mug around his hands the way you hold something fragile in a museum you can't afford. He didn't see me until I sat. For the record, he said without preamble, I didn't know they went to your house. Didn't you? He took the hit. I knew they were shooting somewhere in Malibu. She wanted Heritage. He wanted whatever she wanted. Heritage is a pony on a wall? You always had taste, he said. A beat. I was scared to call you when you came back. You weren't scared of anything when we were kids. I'm not a kid, he said. Haven't been for a while. Turns out adulthood is 10% taxes and 90% cleaning up the messes you made when you thought no one was watching. I don't want an apology for the prom, I said lightly. I wasn't going to apologize for the prom, he said, equally light. I was going to apologize for everything after. We sat with that. It didn't ask for anything. Bare feet in dew damp grass. The thump of a bass somewhere distant, someone on the crew reclaiming their night off. The house exhaled, boards settling, a whole set pretending it didn't dream of being a real home. My phone buzzed. A DM from Madame Dubois, a selfie of her with a cigarette on a balcony the size of Versailles. Darling, she'd written. They'll always test your seams. Wear the dress anyway. I laughed. Okay, I told the night. Day 2 started with yoga at dawn, because there is no sleep on television, only schedules. Everyone did the poses with varying degrees of sincerity. Asher managed an impressive crow. Serafina was flexible in a way that felt like litigation. Leo kept falling out of tree pose and swearing under his breath, which the editor would later make into a charming blooper reel. I stared at the sky and thought about stitching reality from 1,000 bright lies. After smoothies, kale, apology, the challenge was a relay on the lawn where we had to carry eggs on spoons and then answer questions about each other while jumping in sacks. The chat begged for blood. We gave them domestic chaos. At one point Leo wiped out so spectacularly that he skidded across the grass like a baby seal and popped up grinning with a feather stuck to his eyebrow. When I pulled it off he said, very softly, Gossip 3. I thought you'd forgotten. I was hoping to bargain with it, he said. But you look like you need sugar. He offered me the feather for luck, then leaned closer. Serafina isn't old money, he murmured. Her dad ran a chain of car washes and wore loafers with tassels. The Bel Air came after a name change and a better orthodontist. Class cosplay, I said. Don't judge, he said. We all bought costumes to get into this party. Just don't steal the silver. Or the pony. Especially the pony. The final event, the one the producers had clearly prayed would breed 1,000 clips, was a talent show under string lights. The siblings would perform for each other and for the stream. A professional band waited to catch us when we fell. A stagehand whispered the list to me. Asher would sing a ballad, of course. Serafina would dance. Chloe would do a speed sketch. Caleb would. What? I asked. The stagehand peered. Says here he'll read a letter. I had nothing prepared except the willingness to embarrass myself. Leo had insisted we duet. Just harmonize, he'd said. You used to. I was 10, I'd reminded him. And you made me sing alto because it's vibes. It is vibes, he'd said, with the conviction of a man who thought vibes could forgive history. Backstage, Serafina stretched like a blade being honed. Asher hummed scales. Caleb stood in a patch of light and looked like a choice someone hadn't made yet. You hate singing in public, he said to me. I hate a lot of things we're doing, I said. But here we are. Here we are, he echoed and smiled crookedly as if that were a sacrament. Chloe squeezed my hand. If you faint, fall toward me. I'll catch you and make it look intentional. You're my new favorite haze, I said. Low bar, she said. But I'll take it. The show began. Asher sang the kind of song that sounds like a confession and functions like an invoice. He nailed every note and none of the truth. The chat swooned and threw roses the way an app thinks roses must look. Serafina floated to center and did a ballet number that was technically perfect and emotionally taxidermied. She was radiant, yes, but like a chandelier. You admired it and then checked your posture. Chloe drew the view from the farmhouse terrace in 90 seconds, spun the canvas around, and it was a portrait of all of us, crowded, flawed, funny. The feed lost its mind. Caleb stepped up with a folded paper. He didn't look at us when he read. Dear my younger self, he said, voice even, you will think you're the main event when you're really the commercial break. You will mistake applause for oxygen. You'll almost suffocate a person you love because you're trying to breathe through them. Don't. Learn to breathe alone. He paused. And when she comes back, don't try to be the person she left. Be better. Nobody breathed. The room obeyed the letter and then rebelled, all at once. The chat alt-tabbed between cynicism and ache. Then it was us. Leo took the mic like a coat he'd forgotten he owned. He signaled the band, an old rock classic we'd both loved as kids, something that smelled like gasoline in distant summers. He sang the first verse with a roughness that made the polished audience in their couches sit up. When my harmony line arrived, it found me. My voice shook and then steadied. Leo looked at me, not at the camera. We threaded the chorus together like a rope. Halfway through, I realized I was smiling. Not the kind you do for pictures. The one you can't fix when it starts. The bridge came. The audience clapped on 2 and 4, wrong and perfect. When we finished, the silence before the noise was the best part, that held breath spell when the world hasn't decided what to call what you've just done. Then the noise hit, cheering, chat hearts, sarcasm, emojis doing push-ups. I handed Leo the mic and he said, with respect to everyone here, nothing is truer than that. Thank you and good night. In the staging area the director was levitating. We got it, she kept saying into 3 different devices. We got it. We hadn't won anything, the show pretended to be about competition but actually fed on confession, but I felt like I'd survived something larger than a weekend. In the last group shot, the camera caught Serafina 3 inches behind us, smiling through teeth that could saw rope. Asher had his head tilted to the exact degree that made the new jawline catch the fairy lights. Caleb stood with his hands in his pockets like he wanted to look cool, and had decided not to. Later, after the last drone shot arced over the farmhouse, I went to my room to pack. A knock. I opened the door. Serafina stood there with a paper bag and a smile like anesthesia. I brought you cookies, she said. I looked into the bag. Beautiful round discs with scalloped edges and sugar like frost. Let me guess, I said. From your home kitchen. From the craft services table, she said, amused. May I come in? No, I said. She nodded, unsurprised. She lingered. You're very good, she said. Not at singing. At choosing your moments. I don't choose anything, I said. I just stop pretending is hard. Her eyes warmed like a cat seeing a string. People love you today. They'll love someone else tomorrow. I'm counting on loving myself longer than that. She sighed, a theatrical little thing. You should be on my side. We're the same. We're not, I said. Her gaze flicked to the bag. You won't even try one? I'm allergic to arsenic. A beat. She laughed, real, startled. I actually like you, she said. That's inconvenient. She turned, then paused. For what it's worth, we did ask someone about the house. A fixer named Ray. He said it was fine. He was lying to us too. Send me his last name and number, I said. I'll put him in the line after the pony. She tilted 2 fingers in a little salute and glided down the hall. I shut the door. Then I opened the bag, took 1 cookie, and bit it. Lemon. Perfect. I finished it resentfully. Morning came with birds auditioning for a musical and an Uber at the gate. The show would continue without us, the live stream would splice our highlights into trailers, the producers would milk drama into yogurt. Leo and I sat in the back seat, exhausted, dumb, alive. Do you realize, he said finally, that you never asked for the gossip? I volunteered it. Character growth, I said. We'll send your therapist a fruit basket. He turned his head against the seat and looked at me sideways. Move in with me for a bit, he said. I need a roommate who'll make me grilled cheese when I earn it. I have a sublet. Bring it, he said. I'll build another room. You don't know how to build things. I'm extremely rich, he said. It's exactly the same thing sometimes. I snorted. The hills rolled by outside, expensive and indifferent. My phone buzzed. A text from Nora, invoice sent. Also, a courier dropped off flowers to your Malibu, card said so sorry for the misunderstanding. No signature. Should I compost? I typed back, photograph, then compost. Add it to the bill. Another buzz. Chloe, if I get into Parsons, can I crash on your couch for 2 nights during orientation and can we eat noodles and say reckless true things and can you teach me how to buy a single good necklace? Yes to all 3, I wrote. Bring candy. A final buzz, unknown number, a link to a tabloid piece already up, broken, or healed. Roth siblings rewrite the script live. The lead photo caught us mid-laugh over the grill fiasco, butter splatter constellations on the lens like a blessing. I braced for the cruelty underneath and found instead something weirdly kind. Maybe it would change tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow didn't owe us gentleness. But this morning was ours. I leaned my head on Leo's shoulder. He let it happen without making a joke. He watched LA get closer, the work, the noise, the parts of fame that eat the people they pretend to love. You know, he said abruptly, you can punch me again if I deserve it. You always deserve it, I said. But I'm busy. Don't get too big, he murmured. I need to be the famous one. Impossible, I said. I'm 5'4". He laughed and closed his eyes. I watched the traffic bloom and the city accept us like a tide it couldn't help. Somewhere on a screen we were still singing. Somewhere a comment scrolled by, she's so cute. I want to take her home. Somewhere my brother bared his teeth at it like a guard dog with a tiara. The Uber took the exit. The city opened its mouth. We drove in. And for once, it felt like we weren't being swallowed. It felt like we were choosing to be here, 2 kids who had learned how to be loud without breaking each other, making our own rules out of bruises and butter and a pony on a wall.